I hope you're mentally well and physically well. If this is your fifth or fourth time back, subscribe because you like it here. If you want to see my videos up and down your algorithm, like this video. Um, this video is BK chat. Um, he's talking about parents and whether you should help retire them or something. Haven't seen it before. It's a live watch. So yeah, let's see what they're saying. See where we agree and disagree. Cool. And they've got a bit of a long intro at the beginning, like all their vids. So let me try and get past the intro straight to.
Survive.
Yeah.
This is some new age. Like, I've had to address this in the past, and I'm going to address this again. This is some new age American internet nonsense. It is not my job. It is not your job to retire your mum. See, everyone's got this thing the wrong way around. It is the job of the previous generation, i.e. mum and dad, to set up the next generation. It's not the next generation's job to nice and pattern up and retire the previous generation. That don't even make no sense. See, this is how you know your parents have not done well for themselves. This is how you know your parents have failed. When you have to pick up the pieces, when you have to pattern them up, when you have to retire them. If your parents was on their purpose, if your parents made something of themselves, then there will be no need for you to retire them. Do you think
what he's saying sounds harsh, but if you take your emotions out of it, it seems kind of logical. You know, when you first hear it, because you're told like to respect your parents, and you know the elderly, especially like black communities and stuff, they have high rank and so forth. Like, so when someone says against it emotionally, you want to attack them. But if you think about it, what he's saying is pretty common sense and logical, that the older generation and so forth should set up. But then there's certain things when your parents get older that they can't help. That's not to do with money. That's to do with health and you know, just physical things that they need help with and stuff like that. So you should aid them and stuff. But it's something that when you hear it, it's not nice to hear because you think that you should respect your elders, and why is he disrespecting? But he's not really disrespecting elders or your parents. He's stating that they should set things up for their kids if they and so forth. So, like, if you take an unemotional look at it, it, it logically makes sense. But I still I disagree. But there's still things you have to help your parents with. They're older because they lose their faculties and stuff. So let's see how this goes. Let's see, you know.
Bezos' son has to retire him? No. If you believe in this mentality, yeah, it's my job to retire my mum and dad, don't get it twisted. If you become ultra rich, ultra successful, or you win the lottery or whatever, and that, of course. Well, you're going to be living in some massive mansion, driving 2 Lamborghinis and a Ferrari with a pool at the front and a pool at the back, and your mum's still in some council house in North Peckham Estate. Come on, man.
Peckham caught strays, boy. Peckham catching strays, bruv. I don't want no. What is this advert? Why are you showing me this stupid advert for, man?
For free. I started during COVID, and if they're shutting
Sorry,
down all
Tony
stadiums
Robbins. I
around
don't care, man.
But it's not your job to retire your
That was a bar, bro.
ultra rich, ultra successful, or you win the lottery or whatever, and that, of course. Well, you're going to be living in some massive mansion, driving 2 Lamborghinis and a Ferrari with a pool at the front and a pool at the back, and your mum's still in some council house in North Peckham Estate. Come on, man.
North Peckham was.
But it's not your job to retire your mum. So, with that mentality, with this logic here, basically what you're saying is, you know, it's alright for you to coast along through life and do nothing and make nothing of yourself. It's alright because your son's going to pick up the pieces. Now, it's down to the previous generation to nice and pattern up the next generation.
You ignorant son of a bitch.
People like you, I'm not a shit. All talk.
Okay, you called him ignorant son of a bitch. Now you have to qualify it by giving some evidence for why.
No sense. No depth.
Do nothing and make nothing of yourself. It's alright because your son's gonna pick up the pieces now. It's down to the previous generation to nice and pattern up the next generation.
You ignorant son of a bitch. It's people like you, I'm not a shit. All talk, no sense. No depth. Just stupidity.
Happy to do it. All right, today, guys, we've got a special guest. He's a presenter, sports fanatic, boxer, and black Picasso. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He just gets it cracking. Else. Do you give a round of applause, please?
Hold on. Why did we all get an introduction like that?
Special guest, please.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
No,
Yeah.
thank you for having me, man.
Yes, boss.
Welcome. All right, cool.
Welcome.
No, love.
Hey, damn. Else, you're a little far. Come a little closer. I can hear you talk all day.
How deep is this man's voice? I thought Jesus was in the room. Yo, it's your boy Else, man. Made it to back chat. I don't know how, but we're here.
Easy. Boy. Alright, cool. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of words, isn't it? Alright, why do Afro-Caribbean kids become their parents' retirement plan while white kids inherit one? And then are we focused on escaping generational trauma that we're creating generational neglect?
You know what? When I first heard it, I wasn't agreeing with him. The more he spoke, I was like, wow. You know when they say let him cook? Like, let him cook. Because he started making a lot more sense.
That's exactly what I said. When you first hear it, because it's attacking your parents, you feel emotionally like you want to attack him back. But then if you take my emotions out of this and listen to what he's saying logically, of what absent from emotion and me, like you personally, and the love you have for your parents and stuff like that. Listen to it. Listen to what he's saying. Unfortunately, a lot of kids don't have dads now. Like a lot of people are not raised with kids. A lot of kids are not raised without fathers nowadays, so that's another factor as well. I wonder why this question said Afro-Caribbean and white kids. I didn't mention African kids. That's another discussion. But I can be honest, growing up, I noticed with most African parents, most African kids, they had two-parent households, and most Jamaican kids were single mother parent households. Now I'm not saying that I know all Jamaicans come from Africans as well, and I'm not making any analysis. I'm not making any outcome on that. I'm just saying, as experience, when I grew up, most African kids had two parents. Most Jamaican, I'm Jamaican myself. Well, I'm born and bred here, England, but most Jamaican kids came from single parent mother's house. I'm not making any judgment on it or saying anything, but I'm thinking the reason why it hit me is because this question says Afro-Caribbean and compared it to white kids. But why did they say Afro-Caribbean parents? Maybe and that's what made me think. Yeah, when I was growing up, most African kids had like two parents and this that. Most Jamaican kids, and this is another video as well. Another video I've got to go into as well, and like I said, I'm not being biased. I noticed that a lot of African kids went off. They not only went to school and college, they went off to university. It was like a norm, and unfortunately, a lot of the Jamaican kids, like I said, my mother's Jamaican. A lot of the Jamaican kids ended up as rude boys, like end up going in jail. And I don't know why this is. I don't know. I've got a few reasons for why I think is, but it's not. This is not the video, but anyway.
On the face of it, I think sometimes we put pressure onto, or some of us have pressure from our parents, and that pressure can sometimes be, it can really destroy us, and it can really make us sometimes not even follow our own path or what we really want to do. You know, some of us come from the generation where the parents want you to be specific things, especially if you come from African upbringing. I know Caribbean upbringing is slightly different, so I think sometimes the pressure that can be put on, the expectation on the kids, sometimes is what you're saying. Like, you didn't necessarily pattern yourself, you didn't do the things you need to do, and now you're relying on the next generation. Whereas I think I've had, friends that when they turned 17, they had a car bought by their parents, when they
of blowing prop firm challenges.
Oh,
Here's a
we
question.
don't care,
what if
mate.
somebody else ran it for you using a tested, structured, and rule-based system, and then let you manage the live funded
Sorry,
one,
mate.
or when they got married, they had a house bought for them, whereas maybe we didn't have necessarily that. So I do think there were parts of what I do agree with him, but at the same time, I don't know, some people may think.
Sorry. Do you know the difference between white people and black people in this country with their parents? The white people send their parents to care homes. That's the difference. If anything, if you are grateful for the fact that your parents brought you up and took care of you up until you're 18, you've got at least...
You can say that's true also, yeah, but I can also say that, so what? There's a lot of white kids here, because a lot of white men, whether they're from council estates or not, their dads have trades. So what they do with their son, from a young age, they take their son out of them, yeah, to do, whether he's an electrician or whether he's a plumber or whether he's like a builder, this, that, and the other. A lot of white kids, yeah, they inherit the trade or the skills from their father. Like, that was a cheap shot, that was a bit racist as well. Not racist. It was not racist, sorry, I take that back. But say the difference between white kids and that. Okay, it's more, I understand, I agree that in the Asian culture and the African culture and the Jamaican culture, I agree that to put your parents in a home is kind of like a major sin, or it's like a major disgrace, yeah. And in even in third world countries, that's why I don't like when these racist reform voters or far right white people say called Asia and the Middle East and Africa backwards countries, yeah, and stuff like that, because just how you look at them for certain things they do and you look down on it, they could easily look at you and think, rah, our mothers and our fathers are the most beloved things to us. It doesn't even occur for 1 second to put them in a home and stuff. But that was a deflection. That was a deflection in this conversation, because I could easily say a lot of white fathers set their kids up for the future by teaching them the trade that they know, and they take them from a young age on site, or like to get them to come they either work for their business or they go with them on jobs and learn how to paint, learn how to fit sockets, learn how to do carpentry and stuff like that. So that was a low blow, man.
Country with their parents. The white people send their parents to care homes. That's the difference. If anything, if you are grateful for the fact that your parents brought you up and took care of you up until you're 18, you've got at least 18 years to give back to them. It makes no sense for people to not want to take responsibility for their parents when they're older, when they took responsibility for you when you're younger. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that's very selfish, extremely ungrateful, and, quite uncultured.
That person there is misunderstood. Yeah. What you have to recognize with a lot of Afro-Caribbean parents that have come to, let's say, the UK, wherever you've gone in Europe, is that a lot of them are first generation. So again, if you are first generation coming here, you haven't had, in actual fact, let's say maybe a white British person who's had generations of families in the same country. You haven't had the same educational kind of process. And I'm not talking about academia, I'm talking about this life and how to inherit wealth here. So if you take, let's say, my mum, for example, she comes here and that the highlight of her life would be to work at Royal Metal. You could call that a failure, but for her, that's a massive success, considering that she didn't have an education and she was hustling and she come here with nothing. Now, if all of
Yeah, he made, I think his name is Gabs. Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. Yeah. So, what if they're first generation here? What could they really leave behind for their son or daughter? So, yeah, to expect to retire them and so for them to set things up for you is a bit of a high expectation. That's a lot of sense.
children have got a degree, you've gone even beyond what in actual fact was expected of you as a mother.
True.
Now, I could turn around and say that wasn't good enough. But the reality is that's taking the piss from based on that struggle. Now, for me, I'm going to sit there and say my kids have to go way beyond where I've gone. Not because I'm better than my mum, but because I've been brought up in a situation that's completely different from what my mum is. So I'm the second generation. Well, I'm the first generation coming here. She's not the first generation because she came here. She wasn't born here. I'm the first generation. So the generations after me are going to do what they're going to go and do. But the generations before me, where were they? In Ogbomoso. The generation that he's probably referring to, picking cotton, slave masters. You basically, what you just did there spits on generations that got you to where you are today. You disrespectful prick.
Would you have done the same thing your parents have accomplished if you was in their shoes, moving from one country to another? So a lot of our parents are immigrants.
Yeah.
Those are my parents. So coming into this country at the age of like 20, 22, 23, had kids and learning the language first, because some of our countries, I'm from Angola, so yeah.
Mano,
Hola, bem, tá bem?
that's what they fala.
Don't start that shit.
Hey, I'm greeting my brother from my country. What's wrong
These
with you?
can't
Don't be jealous.
concentrate on the thing, man.
Well, finally, there's more of us. You know how hard it is for me to not speak Portuguese every day? My brother, welcome.
Cool. So then what happens is they come, they gotta learn English, they gotta learn the land, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Find a place,
Yeah.
have kids, find a job, and then navigate through that. So we're in our 20s or 30s or whatnot. We haven't done what our parents have done, so we've done the same thing. We'll be successful.
You know the problem with his message there? Like, he does make some points, but he does it from a very ignorant stance. So to compare it to like Jeff Bezos, you can't do that. Like, you understand? Like you said, the struggles were different. Understand their paths are all different. So you can't just pluck. And people tend to do that. They always want to compare you to the top man. But he didn't just get there just like
Guys, tell that numpty to go to Angola, start from the beginning, and then stop me and tell me how far you get.
Obviously, we do, as parents, we do want to make sure that everything's up for our kids. Right? Sometimes it doesn't go like that. And he just called people's parents failures. We don't know what everyone gauges success differently. If you know what I'm saying. So what?
The guy that made the video, I've seen some of his videos on Instagram on stuff, and I think, what is it? That guy, I think he's from a single parent family. I don't know. I'm not gonna die on that hill. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight, but I know that he's had a rough past, and what's happened. He's bought properties and stuff like that. So he's got quite a few properties and so forth, and he's just like, he's not about showing off his money and stuff and having like a flash car and all these things. He's into like building up your assets and all this kind of stuff first. So I think because he's made it from like a council estate or from like a, not a two-parent family and stuff, he's saying to other people, listen man, I ain't got no skills and this, that and the other. I think he was a plumber first. He had some kind of trade or something. He learned it, and then what happened is that he took the money from that and put it into properties and stuff. So I think that's the angles he's coming from, is that, if like there's opportunities in this country and you can make something of yourself, even if you never had a good start.
She may achieve, like you said, if she worked for Royal Mail, that could have been a very, very successful.
Not even just Royal Mail, just the whole thing.
She might have just raised
pension, the lot.
She might have 4 kids. She might have raised 4 kids who turn out to be successful and retire. That is a successful woman as far as I'm concerned.
Do you know what? I agree with Cardo, because what is success? What is success? Success essentially is having a goal, an ideal, and going and achieving that ideal and becoming it. Yeah. So if you want to become a mother and you have a child, and that's what you always wanted, then that's a success. No one can't say to you, oh, you need to do anything else with your life. Because some people, that's all they want to go and do. But other people, they might want to go become a doctor or something. That's to become a success. So I think success is one person ideal. So you look at someone else. That's what people do, different jobs and they're happy, right? People have different lives and they're happy. So this whole measure of success is necessary when you're comparing yourself with someone else. So I think as long as you know what you want, then I think that's successful.
I agree. You know, I think it depends on the dynamics of your household as well. I come from a single parent household with 3 kids, and a lot of the time we just survived. But we survived and we got by, and that was my mom doing very well because we had good times. Whereas if you come from a household where with 2 parents and your father's there and he's been brought up with the same opportunities in this country as we have, then it's probably a different story. But for me, I feel like I owe it to my mom to do what I can for her.
Sorry, last one.
Bring it to this side.
Last one. I promise you. Last one. I promise you. You can't speak for people that, and in actual fact, like people like my mum. If a large part of her coming here was to get us to where we need to get to, so that we can then support her, that was a sacrifice that was made based on before she left to come.
Yeah.
So again, there's a number of families in Angola, Nigeria, Ghana, all over Africa, who invest their money into their child or children to go to.
Right.
You can say it's toxic. You can say it's toxic.
Very toxic.
You can say it's toxic, but
because as a parent,
culturally, look at it.
Yeah, so it's a toxic culture, and I'll explain why, in my opinion, anyway. So if you decide to come to this country and better your life and put all of that weight on your child, then returning it to you, you're putting a lot of undue pressure. It's not fair. So in regards to whether I agree or not, I'm gonna say it is not your job as your parent's child to carry the burden of retiring them. Retiring them will be a byproduct of your success. That's just the way it goes. You don't have to, but if it is in your heart to do so, then you do. And that, I feel like, is the merit to whether you've raised a good child, whether or not I love you and want to look after you. But it shouldn't become a burden where, like, you're expecting me to, or I have to work hard. I'm fighting for my life here. How am I gonna now add you to it? Does that make sense?
Whether you're planning a renovation or searching for your perfect piece,
Everyone's
SDT
making
has you
reasonable
covered.
points, man.
From modern designer radiators to traditional column and cast iron radiators.
So let me
undue
finish,
pressure based
let
on
me
you
finish.
being in the UK.
Let me finish.
Based on being in Angola, in them bushes, it's not undue pressure.
Okay, I hear what
Like,
you're saying.
no,
However,
based on being in Angola, it's not undue pressure. You're confusing this thing of pressure.
Calling them Gabs, calling them bushes and stuff like that. You shouldn't do that. I just would documentary with ShxtsNGigs going over Africa. What bushes, man? What bushes, man? Educate yourself, Gabs. You should know better, man.
can't just accept it because for
You
example,
can, based on that.
You're a single mother and
Wow.
you come to
Go
this
to the bush
country.
and tell me what pressure.
Let me finish. If you're a single mother, you've moved here from another country. I'll use my grandma as an example. She moved here from Ghana. She did have a husband, but they ended up separating. She then had 3 daughters. My mum is one of them. She expected to pour into her daughters that when she retires or when she can't work anymore, every single one of them can give back. And I've seen how toxic that is and how resentful their relationship is because of that. Because she puts undue pressure. If something is needed, the 3 of you must split between them. This, that. For me, it's completely different. I'm not first generation. I'm second. So I don't have that toxic relationship with my mum. However, because she moved here, made this sacrifice, did this, did that, it's an expectation. It's too much. It's too heavy. Let your children give back because they want to, because they're kind-hearted, because good, not because they're expected
Second
to.
generation.
It's too much.
Sounds perfect from a second generation.
It's too much. It's toxic.
Not from the first generation. Sounds brilliant. Second generation though. Brilliant. Makes sense.
I can see both sides, yeah. So
Go to the
in
bush.
terms of if my parents made
Come
a
back.
sacrifice to come
Tell me you
from
can do it.
Uganda to come here, yeah. One part of it is I didn't ask them to make that sacrifice.
Oh, Lloyd.
No, I'm not. Listen, I see both sides, and I'm on the other side, by the way. I'm just playing both sides, yeah? I didn't ask you to leave Uganda to come here. I didn't tell you that that's the dream. I didn't tell you that that's what you're supposed to do for us to make it. Just hear me. There is a side where it's like, I get it's your sacrifice, but you made that sacrifice. And now I'm going to be reminded of your sacrifice for the rest of my life because you made it. You get it? There's that side. Now, the other side is, the other day, I remember I had to renew my passport, yeah, and it was a bit inconvenient because my money was going elsewhere. But the passport came within 1 week. And I remember thinking, once upon a time, my parents had a dream to come to London. They had to work and apply and pay to get their passports, and I can renew it within a week. And I saw the success that they made. Even the other day, my mum was talking about her dad, and she was like, oh, if my dad knew that I came to London, he'll be so proud. He'll be like, wow, Rachel flew in a plane. Do you get it? So you hear the success that she's done for herself, even though for someone else, like, oh, you flew in a plane, okay, we do that every day. Oh, I do that 4 times a year. Do you get what I'm saying? But for my mum, that's a big deal, you know? So I see the success that she's had. I could never just relocate and build a whole life and then make it as well. Like, other people, counterparts, white people, have old money that spans back to how long ago? So they had time to accumulate that wealth. My parents are figuring it out. They might not be the most financial literate. You know what I'm saying? They're figuring out this thing. And I see
Parents in Africa, before you send your kids to UK, know the mission.
I see my mum,
the right one.
just trying to figure it out.
No,
you get what I'm saying?
And it's a misconception to think that white people got money as well.
But see what they did?
This what?
Why?
That's why
do
they
they?
send their parents to care homes.
Someone they didn't know.
Why do you keep on talking about white people like that? No white people are the same, man. You have affluent white people. You have white people in council status. You have hardworking white people. You have lazy white people. White people, their skin color doesn't remove the fact that they're human, man. Alright. Stop taking digs at people and so forth as the stuff just because it's a white country, yeah. Just because it's a white country, you wouldn't like it. It's unnecessary, some of these comments, man.
Spat on so much trauma, so much hardship because your mum is in the position where
parents are figuring it out. They might not be the most financial literate. You know what I'm saying? They're figuring out this thing. And I see
parents in Africa, before you send your kids to UK, know the mission.
I see my mum,
the right one.
just trying to figure it out.
No,
you get what I'm saying?
And it's a misconception to think that white people got money as well.
But see what they did? They saved
Why?
money.
That's why they send their parents to care homes.
Someone they didn't know. You've spat on so much trauma, so much hardship because your mum is in the position where she can't retire and she needs your help. Are you stupid or something? Everything that you're saying, I hear it in it, yeah.
That's what I was like. Wait for me.
But all I'm hearing is how strong they were, yeah, and the risk that they took. They went to a foreign land. They put this money. So this sometimes, like for example, like my who was the first generation because of my dad, and I spoke about my dad, chief and diplomat, and all the things that he's done.
He's a chief.
Yeah,
come on.
You knew that, Gab.
Yeah.
You need some money.
But I think when you're younger, you don't necessarily understand because you know you grow up over here. But you know, so as you get older, you start to understand and see the sacrifice, especially when you go back home. You see the things that they've done and what they built. And I know you don't want to feel like you owe them, but when you realize or you see cousins or people back home that didn't have the same opportunities as you have, and then you go there, that thing that you have, which is a British passport, people are climbing onto planes, like
clean
trying to
toilets,
get doing all manner of things
branded.
just to get here, so for an opportunity, and then we will have it, and we won't necessarily understand the sacrifices that people have gone and got to go. But based on what you said, based on what you said, based on what you said, yeah, I can accept to a degree, yeah. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna accept to a degree that what you're saying makes sense as far as it's being toxic. I actually agree with that.
It's just toxic. That's it.
No, based on what Darrell said, as far as I'm concerned, if you're looking at it from that perspective, I think personally, you should be in a position where you should want to. And,
you should want to.
I'm going based on the question and based on first generation being here and the sacrifices from that. My son in the situation is not going to be the same as what maybe I've had to experience. My connection with my mum and that struggle is watered down because we're in a new struggle with my son. Did you get what I mean? So I wouldn't put somewhat that understanding of support me to my son. But my mum would do it with me. Just not. Luckily for me, I didn't have to go through what others have gone through. But she would have done it with me in a certain kind of way where people understand the struggle. Do you get what I'm saying? In which case, you're willing to give once you get. But I get it. It is toxic. It is toxic to raise your kids based on that. Yes, I agree. That's what I agree.
You know them parents that are like, I did this for you to be. Okay.
I agree. No,
okay.
I agree.
Can I chime in on that, please? 1 second.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
Thank you. Now.
It is toxic.
we're going to start from the beginning. You came from Africa. Let's say you had no children in Africa, yeah? You have decided to have children on the standpoint of when you get older, you are going to look after me. That is a wrong reason to have a child. You do not have children on the basis of you are going to grow up and
Don't look at me and say, look at the
if
camera.
that's the point, if that's the point why you're having children, don't do it. You have children because you want children. You love children. You want to be a parent. You want to pour into them and give them the best that you can possibly give them. And whatever you get back is whatever you get back. You are not raising someone on the premise or the basis of what you are going to get back at the end of it. That is wrong. That's number one. Number two, China, the point you were talking about,
It's the auto sale. What's not to love?
Don't want.
Get the Google Pixel 10 Pro and save up to $7.
Success, where you can't really like say what it is because everyone always has their own definition of what it is. I do personally believe there is a basis of success because a crackhead's success is getting cracked. Do you know what I mean? So they would say they were successful today because they got crap. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like there is some sort of basis.
No crackhead thinks by me getting cracky. No one crackhead says I have a goal of smoking crack, and then if I fulfill it, then I'm successful. Who does that, man? She most probably don't even know anyone that smokes crack.
That we can work off that says, you know, you have been successful to some sort of a degree.
Yeah, so what do we call a successful parent then? Like, what's the basis?
I feel like a successful parent is someone who has raised you well with like right standards. They've right morals, all of that stuff. They've never thrown anything they've done back into your face because it wasn't a tit for a tat. You fucked, bro. You were having fun and you brought me here. I didn't ask to be here. That's how parenthood works.
So ungrateful.
You two were fucking.
She could have mentioned something about qualifications and money.
To a degree when you're talking it.
Wait. If you were getting that dick,
to a degree.
It wasn't ungrateful.
It's so ungrateful.
So
You're alive.
Here, and that's what.
Do you know the likelihood of you being?
I'm not gonna go with that one.
No.
I'm not going with that one.
Taking me to school.
I'm not going with that one. That's a bit.
I've got a job. Can I just say this?
I get it, but
I see my life. That is someone who was raised a child to. Because you have to remember, children have.
What do you think about that one, Doro?
She's basically saying it.
No. I think it hurts me a lot when I hear people speak the way that Dilla spoke about her mum with such vulgar language. And it really gets me to think that perhaps you may have had a really traumatic childhood or maybe a mum that wasn't there for you. Because if your mum was a true mum that's
Watch the girls start get passive aggressive with each other.
Even for the last 10 years of your life that you can give to your mum, you will, because she gave you her whole life. You're selfish, ungrateful, and heavily traumatized. Maybe go see a therapist so you can speak to your mom a bit nicer. She deserves that, because pushing you out wasn't easy, darling.
Jump in.
Yes, Steph.
How?
Yes, Steph.
Okay, I'll come down.
Sorry.
You got this. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
I just wanted to say. I just wanted to say. It is toxic. And let me put myself as an example. My mom flew from Italy to the UK, from Nigeria, Italy, UK. Cool, fine. I remember when I was a kid, I used to eat bank food because most of our last money she would send it back home to look after our mom. And I used to like be in the streets, you know, go to the church, getting like the used clothes, food banks, and you know, da. Now that I'm growing, now I understand why. Because she was always sending the last money to look after her mom. But in that case, I just feel like it's very ungrateful because now I have traumas. Like even for me, I spend all my money in buying stuff because I didn't have stuff when I was a kid. So even like food, I remember like I was dating this guy. I couldn't share food with him because I remember that. There's no food. Food. Guys, real talk.
Like this one. Stop making up excuses. Not sharing your food.
No. It's trauma. It's right.
Guys, it's real. When I was a kid, sometimes there was no food at home, or sometimes the last bread, me and my sister were fighting for it. So now when I go out, when I used to go on dates, and we have to share our food, I was like, why am I sharing my food with you? That's my last meal. But things have changed, thank God. But however, you know, we all have traumas, and then now we just want to forget about them.
So I believe that this is so toxic because now imagine me, I'm growing, I'm almost 30. I want to have kids. Now my mom in the UK, she's asking me, can you please send me money? Can you look after me? So who's going to look after my kid? Who's going to look after my husband?
You have qualification. You was born in Italy, no?
Yeah.
So what did you do all your time in Italy? What did you do?
That doesn't matter, guys.
You bent over? What did you do? You didn't get a job? You're not a CEO?
I'd rather use that. I'd rather use that
Useless.
money to save, to look after my
Saver!
than send it back home. And then I have also a friend who always, she's following Nigeria at the moment. She's a content creator. And she's always crying because she has like 600 pounds. Her dad was like, I'm going to Lagos and I need to go I need to build my house. She had to send it like 600 pounds to her dad. And she was in the car crying. I'm like, babe, leave the house. But she was like, she's very cool. She was very Igbo. She's like, no, I have to look after my dad. Do you know how toxic is that? And how like they take
Life is hard. Life is hard.
Yeah, but you deal with your hardness.
Look after your people.
But your white
man. Life is hard.
You look after your people when you can.
Don't worry. They don't have people. They don't have people. They came. They saw. They conquered. Got the 30, and now they want to have nice clothes with no financial relationship background. Nothing.
You put me here. I didn't.
Go and find husband and tell your husband to pay. Useless.
It's extremely ungrateful. I think it's extremely selfish to think like that. Listen, your parents, yes, they did the deed and then you were born. But from the moment you were born, your parents have been sacrificing and risking and doing things for you to grow up, to at least be here where you're talking and you're healthy. Okay? That it doesn't happen just like that. It's not by magic. There's people on this panel that are also parents and they should know.
So should I
really, hold on. They should know the sacrifices that they made for their children, which means that for good karma, for you to even be a good person, to be a good human, to even get into heaven, you should take care of your parents for sure. And then on top of that, what is even crazy is that he's comparing the black culture with white culture, and actually white culture is failing. Why? Because they have no values or morals towards
This woman's got a problem. She's racist towards white people, man. And don't tell me that crap that only white people can be racist, only black people can only be prejudiced because of systemic racism and systems, and it affects people's power. Racism affects people's finances, and you need power. Black people have power. Black people have services and money. I know tons of black people who have trades, who have businesses and stuff like that. And if they turn white people away from them, it's an inconvenience, and they have to go elsewhere. Not saying they would, but they have the potential to be. They could be racist if they want to. But she has an issue, man. She has an issue, and I don't like when other black people, when a black person says racist stuff, yeah, and other black people are silent, because your silence is also like basically be cool. We would hope, or we would prefer if a white person was in a room with other white people, they would be racist, for that white person that, for one of the white people to stand up, and check them. You know what I'm saying, and so forth. You might say, I don't care, I'm so used to being racist, I don't expect anything from them. But if you don't want people to look at you racistly, or think you're a monkey, or think you're a barbarian and stuff, so you should want decent white people to stick up for when other white people say racist stuff. And likewise, black people, when white people, black person says something racist, you should say something as well.
Talking and you're healthy, okay? That it doesn't happen just like that. It's not by magic. There's people on this panel that are also parents, and they should know.
So should I
really, hold on. They should know the sacrifices that they made for their children, which means that for good karma, for you to even be a good person, to be a good human, to even get into heaven, you should take care of your parents for sure. And then on top of that, what is even crazy is that he's comparing the black culture with white culture, and actually white culture is failing. Why? Because they have no values or morals towards even.
Who told you white people don't have values?
Wait, I haven't finished. Towards the institution of family. That's why they send their parents to care homes. Whereas you go back home and you see that they're all.
Didn't Ginger J just get finished? Yeah, didn't Ginger J just get finished because he said all black women, not some? The reason why Ginger J got finished is because Ginger J said was it all black women are loud, rude, they don't have their own hair, this, that, and the other. She just said that white people, no disclaimer, they don't have morals. No disclaimer. That's it. White people, they put their parents in people of. That's one thing. That's one thing. Don't say they don't have morals. That's one thing that most Asian and black people don't do. Yeah, and so forth. I'm sure if I already thought about it, there's something that white people do. Like I said, there's a lot of white dads. Yeah, that their kids. Yeah, they bring up their kids to learn a trade, yeah, whether it be a plumbing, electrician, or strip thingy, and they show them what it's like to be a man. Well, either they work for their business, yeah, and you might say, oh, but they've been in this country so long, they if they got a business, it's expected, yeah, or whatever. The point is that there's a lot of white fathers that take their kids, yeah, and teach them a trade, yeah, from when they're small, and teach them how to be a man and earn a living, yeah, from a skill they learn, you know. White people, black people got faults, and white people got faults. Yeah, I'm sure you can find something in one area in something that white people do that black people don't do. So this nitpicking is stupid.
People living until they're 90, still bringing value to the family, bringing wisdom for their children, which means that for good karma, if you to even be a good person, to be a good human, to even get into heaven, you should take care of your parents, for sure. And then on top of that, what is even crazy is that he's comparing the black culture with white culture, and actually white culture is failing. Why? Because they have no values or morals towards even...
Who told you white people don't have values?
Wait, I haven't finished. Towards the institution of family. That's why they send their parents to care homes. Whereas you go back home and you see that there are old people living until they're 90, still bringing value to the family, bringing wisdom to the family because they're being taken care of by the children that they raise. So I think it's extremely grateful and selfish.
But you know what? Don't look after your parents, that's fine. But not at the detriment of your kid.
It's a detriment because of your mentality.
No, but it doesn't matter. You don't remember, she just said she didn't have nothing.
Why is nobody clarifying about the white people, man? Why is it just being blown over? A lot of us grew up with white people in council estates, man, like, and so forth, and black. They were our friends. They were always, you know, like we used to hang out with them and so forth, and this, that, and the other, and so forth, and like, 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 we had the same lifestyles. We had the same childhood and so forth. Like, this is a liberty, man. It's a disgrace.
How do you even live? You can't even look after no one else.
And your parents don't care.
She can't even look after herself and her kids now.
Oh, come on, man.
Then, you get me? She can't send her last bread home.
I'm not giving anybody my last penny. Absolutely nobody. Money management is important. I'll give you a percentage of what I can spare.
No, bro. My mom can take the last 6 bills every day. Because you know what?
Yeah, but you ain't got kids,
bro. You have no kids.
Yes, so let me finish then. Because what I've just said is,
you have bills to pay.
I agree, not at the detriment to your kids.
Yeah.
But at the detriment to yourself. Because my mom can take the last 6 bills.
Yeah, but you're talking as a single man who has no children.
I've had no money and survived.
Yeah, but it's a different story.
But I'm saying, because the video, the video was from the perspective of the child, of the son, right?
Yeah.
Relating back to the video. So him, from himself, he should give his last penny to his mum, man.
So then how does he, so now he's given all his money to his mum. How is he able to even get into a relationship to start a family when he has zero
P?
No, but you know what? Wait.
Prioritize his mother first.
No, wait. No, listen.
Instead of going dating, we wait.
See, I was gonna say she's all money. Just for him to get in a relationship, he has to have money and stuff like that.
No, I'm not gonna go anywhere. You.
Then your sperm count will run out. Now you're sitting there. No one's dead. Your mom's dead, and there's nobody to look after you.
Tell me again. I didn't hear.
I didn't hear you. Just a quick one. Can I just quickly because I feel like I don't necessarily have this mindset. Okay, I'm happy to look after my parents. I give my mum money. It's not a problem. Yeah. I think what Zilla's was trying to say, and what Steffi's trying to say, is that, you know, we don't really like people that give to receive, right? If your friend gives you something and they expect, it's a bit like, what's wrong with you? But there's a level of enabling that we do with our parents where we allow them to give to receive because we say, but you're my parent. Do you get? I think that's what they're just trying to say.
Kick them on the street and they use it.
They're just trying to say,
kick them on the street then.
I'm not saying kick your parents out, yeah?
it doesn't have to be one extreme to the other. Yeah, we can talk about this.
Well, look, let's
yeah?
talk about this cycle.
We can talk about this.
Let's talk about this cycle here.
What
yeah?
I'm just trying to say is that they're talking about there is a toxicity there where there is a pressure on children. Do you understand? To look after their parents. I have definitely felt that pressure before. Well, I remember I saved like a good amount of money, good couple grand. Yeah, I had to give it all to my mum. She needed it. She needed it. Did she give it back? I give it back. She gave it back a very long time after.
Look at Mum. Did she give it back?
It's okay. She gave it back a very long time after.
When she could give it back?
She can't get a house with that. Hear me. She gave it back to me a long time after, and because she gave it to me in chunks, I never saw the money the way it was, and then my circumstances had kind of changed. You know what I'm saying? So I needed it. So I remember just feeling a bit like, oh damn, like I'd started something, but it didn't quite happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's fine. I'll go again. It's not a problem. Sorry, I have gone again. But what I mean is, I get what they're saying in terms of sometimes the pressure could be so great that even your own success that could take your family possibly to another level is hindered or delayed because now there's all these pressures where it's like, mum, if you had just patterned certain things, I might be able to even take us to the next level.
And I get you, but
that's all they're saying.
But how have you made it to this point where you can go and look ahead? Your mum has every single day.
No, you're right. I agree.
If your parent hasn't done that, because of like my dad hasn't, he's never gonna get a penny from me, nothing from me. I don't owe him nothing. My mum, I owe everything because from every single day, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them ages, nurture me. You understand what I'm saying?
Sacrifice.
It's different as well.
God bless you. Your mum should be very proud of you.
No, if you're a parent already as now a parent, your viewpoint will be a bit different. If you ain't got no kids,
I'm not disregarding that.
You know what I'm saying, because your thing now,
no.
Like, I'm gonna make sure my kids are good.
Jay, I agree with you. No, but I agree with you as well.
If I had a child now, then the child is the priority. I'm not gonna lie to you. The child is a priority then, but he wasn't talking from that perspective. He was talking from the perspective of I want to go and do this and that with my life.
But Jay, can I add on to your point?
Okay, guys.
Before we go any further, though, I'd like to have a quick look at this car.
We don't care. Okay, guys.
COMMENTRY to 2017. So do you think it had emergency braking assist? By the looks of the pictures, I think this Lotus was either being driven recklessly.
Guys, check out my playlist. No, I'm not doing part 2. Check out my playlist. These are the type of videos on my account. Like I said, like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if this is your 3rd or 4th time back. And yeah, also, yeah, if you want to see my videos in your algorithm, like it. I've got a big catalogue of videos. Check them out. Cool. Okay, alright, take it easy.